Shosalem. This video is a little bit different because I am recording my entry for the Interplanetary cooking contest. I've prepared a small banquet of foods that I think comply with the 3 leaves of Xi'an cooking by House Whale. So Whale. Oh. And I'm going to taste them for you and we'll see how we go. The concept I've gone with is a lot of small plates where humans could enjoy them as well. Sometimes I've got a cooked and an uncooked variant, and I'm going to review all of them. Everything should be safe to eat, so it should be fine. We're going to start with this, which is Marmite and coffee tempeh, or as I've translated it in Xi'an, we called it portray a human we rira. Raira. So raira is savory flavor, and that's so fundamental that raira literally just means some flavor. Obviously they don't really like cooked food, but by preparing a cooked and uncooked version of this marinated dish, I think I'm able to have an idea where you can like pass it round and everyone's taking a bit, even if the humans are trying this one, the Xi'an trying this one. So if we start with the cooked one, which is a little bit more to my taste, it's delicious. It's got nice springy texture, but also texture of the tempeh. It's got the whole beans in it. There's quite a lot of savory flavor. This uses Marmite rather than miso because that is more savory. And it's quite nice and crunchy on the outside. So I'd actually really recommend this recipe to anyone. Now the uncooked variant I'm a little bit more apprehensive of. The coffee actually comes from a coffee liqueur, but not a sweet one. It's cold brew, and it has given it like quite a strong metallic smell, which I'm not sure is from the Marmite or the liqueur. That is desirable to the Xi'an. They call it pian, metallic taste and smell. And there's also quite a lot of earthiness, which is non puang. But let's give it a go. So yeah, it's still got that kind of nice firm texture that both human and Xi'an like, but there's this strong kind of metallic flavor, and the savory levels are like much higher. Like that umami is crazy. So while I think that's a very successful dish for appealing to the flavors and textures of that they like, not sure I'd recommend this. I'd recommend probably cooking it. If I can make any improvements, I might just suggest serving a bit of sauce with the tempeh because it's quite dry. Okay, next I've got my various pickles, which I would believe they would call wea, which literally means salad, but fresh veg is not up their street. I made 2 different pickles, and then 1 jar of each had a chili in it to try and make a spicy version. So they're all an apple cider vinegar pickle, which is regarded as an acceptable substitute for trigo sweet, which is a blood and vinegar mixture. And for the courgette pickle, I've got a turmeric and mustard seed and rosemary in there. So let's try the non-spicy version of that. So it's nice and yellow from the turmeric. So yeah, the term for this texture is chick-chack, which is onomatopoeic, and you're just getting that beautiful like chick-chack from the kind of firmness of the flesh and then the skin. Because it's courgette, it's a little bit more firm than a cucumber pickle, and it's just lovely. It's quite sharp. It's not like a sweet pickle, but it's nice kind of earthy flavors. It's just really good. The asparagus I was trying to pickle with like more fragrant things. So we have Szechuan pepper, bay leaf, cardamom, and ginger. A little bit less traditional pickled asparagus. I was trying to get the, I was hoping that the stringiness would be preserved, because that's, there's a term for that as well. I can't recall off the top of my head, but the stringiness of the asparagus is supposed to be preserved. So yeah, there's a bit of the fragrancy coming through. A little bit of a tingle from the Szechuan pepper. It has that sort of tingly numbing effect. And if you're biting like along the grain, you do get a bit of the stringiness, which is, you know, quite pleasant. It's a bit different to the courgette. So now I'm gonna try the spicy courgette. So I'm not actually getting any heat off that. I'm wondering whether, you know, because capsicum is the spicy element and that's fat soluble, maybe this method just doesn't really distribute any of the spice. It's supposed to be the spicy asparagus. Yeah, so they're not really spicy, which is a little bit of a disappointment. You know, they like to have spicy flavors, Xi'an, so you'd probably want to be putting some hot sauce on this, and as you saw it in the cookbook, I've got a selection of sauces. I'm going to try the chili just to see if it actually is at all spicy. These are supposed to be bird's eye chilies, which are supposed to be relatively hot. They were the hottest I could find on the day I was shopping. So, yeah, there is a lot of heat preserved in the chili. I think it's just this method of cooking is because it's not really dissolving into the vinegar, it's not really getting into the courgette. I suppose I would maybe, I don't know how to change that, maybe by putting some chili flake directly on them. It's my first attempt at pickling. I think this has been quite successful. Otherwise, I'm making burgers tomorrow and I'm looking forward to putting these courgettes on there. I think it would also go well with one of the small plates. While this is not high cuisine, I think it's very appropriate. This is what in Britain is called corned beef, and I believe in America it's called bully beef. And it's a ground up salt beef with like a layer of fat on it, and the fat coating your mouth is another of the desirable Xi'an qualities in food. So I'll try that with a bit of the courgette. I think that's going to go really nicely together. Yeah, so let's try those two together. Perfect combination. So finally, we've got a cloud egg. Now, this might not be the first thing that springs to mind when you read about Xi'an cooking, because it is fresh. It is essentially a cheesy meringue with then the yolk partly baked in the middle. I thought about this because the textures are so perfect for some of the more unusual or like less familiar in European cuisine textures. So there's this texture called twaisu, which is supposed to crumble and then melt in the mouth, and that to me reminds me of a meringue, but sweet meringue is out. And I love making these for breakfast, so I think that this is a perfect way to do it. And we've got a nice gooey egg in the middle. But the pungency of the cheese, I think, is taking away that fresh flavour, which would be undesirable. So let's just try a little bit of the egg. I'm just going to use a fork. So it's just a light, fluffy cheesiness. Yeah, and it just kind of crumbles in the mouth. It's kind of a little bit more elastic on the outside than crispy, but pretty delicious. And of course the egg. I think we want something to dip the egg. So I've got roll mops, which are pickled herring. I really like these. These are actually from Scotland, but they're really popular in Germany. And I cut them in strips so they'd be compatible with, a little bit more compatible with chopsticks. So I think a bit of roll mop and egg. We've got pickled fish and a nice gooey egg yolk. Just delightful. So that, I think, rounds everything out. Thank you for joining me for this. We'll be returning to Between the Columns, my Xi'an language tutorial series, probably on Monday. I'm hoping to do a little bit more of content like this where we do a broader look at the culture and law. This was a great deal of fun for me though, and I'm really glad to see that we got some competitions which are outside of just the picture and screenshot contests we've had in the past. This has been a lot of great fun for me. So I hope you join me for those in the future, and until then, lo à l'école. Eat well.